Hi, everybody. I am Melissa Klein, and I am here to talk to you about the color of skin. And a lot of people don't realize sort of the origins of my fascination in skin tones. But when I was a young kid, I was the only white person in an all black class, and I remember looking at the Crayola crayon that was flesh colored and being like, whoa, this is not like the color of anybody in here. And the kids it was in St. Louis, and like there was many different skin tones of young of black kids around me, anything from very light tones to very darks. And then I held the crayon against my own arm, and I was like, well, it's not even my flesh tone color. So what the hell is this? And then but then sort of dutifully coloring in, because I come from a white family, I, dutifully coloring in the faces of my white family, a little family portrait thing, and being like, wow, that really looks weird. I don't know what to do with that. Now, many years later, having, studied it and, studied anatomy and taken color theory classes and blah, 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 there's so much more to it. Um, and I think there's some dialogues that I've noticed about skin tones that I'm not really seeing many people talking about. Like, as I look at, let's say, the old masters, at Rembrandt, and thinking he's doing a lot of things that when I was taking classes in this, nobody was really talking about. How, he's creating reds and shadows, and how that works. And it's working. It's definitely working. So what are these rules that we've created that are kind of artificial and are being broken? And Same thing like with Degas, like seeing an exhibit of his work many years ago, and seeing like in his pastel work, that underneath the skin tones, he would have these like really bright, almost fluorescent, like greens and oranges underneath there. And it was giving this wonderful like light and vibrancy that was coming through. So looking at somehow like breaking some of our assumptions about it, as well. One of the wonderful things I think about studying skin tones is that these concepts can be applied in so many different ways. Because when one of the things that we don't that gets in the way of doing a good realistic skin tone is people tend to like do like what I call kind of the makeup face, where you find the base tone and you just cover the whole face with that. I mean, on the one hand, for example, I love how the finally cosmetic companies have caught on that not everybody is white like me, and they're quote unquote expanding the lines. I'm like, you should have always had an included that. And that's great. But when you apply like a base coat of makeup, and a lot of times we're living in such a media saturated world, especially now where we're all kind of online, that you'll kind of see these faces that are missing a lot of contrast. It's all kind of washed out. And when you think about it, for making great portrait work, you actually want lots of colors and lots of contrasts and kind of things like that. Even in my own face, which is relatively uniform, there's like so many different shadows and tones and highlights. And I did put a little concealer on my nose because it was a pimple. But other than that, it's pretty much, it is what it is. And of course, shadows under the eyes and stuff like that, because I'll stay up late and I love you so much. So those things to think about. As last, but I wanted to talk about was, what's so great is when you sign up for a class, you're really setting aside that dedicated time and to be creative, and you're making this commitment to your creativity. I think pretty much a lot of people would like to be creative, and I think everybody has the capability to be creative, but there's very few people who actually are like, boom, gonna do it, gonna, kind of invest in this. invest in yourself, invest in your time and your energy into it. And I think also another dialogue that is not often talked about is, but you look at any great art movement, at the core of it is usually just a bunch of artists hanging out, or artists and people interested in art, community members who are just like, yeah, let's talk about this. This is cool. Let's do this project, that kind of thing. Um, and that is how humanity works in many ways. Even the people who are the quote unquote lone geniuses, Van Gogh is a good example. His brother Theo was a huge support throughout his entire life. There's like whole volumes of letters that they exchanged. Degas, another one known for being very difficult, and yet he had the same housekeeper for decades. Like there was somebody in there somehow supporting him, and he did have some legit impressionist friends as well. So, this email that this video is with has a lot of nitty gritty. Feel free to reach out and talk to me about it. Obviously, the rooster outside has something to say about it. And I'm just really looking forward to working with you, and it's going to feel more like play. So here's to your color. Thanks so much.